I'm Mr. Torres. I've taught AP US History for a few years now and love it. Every year, students ask me if I always knew that I wanted to teach history. And the truth is that I have. It might sound crazy to a lot of you, but so many of my social studies teachers have taught me how to think differently and express myself. And that's my goal for my students. Whenever I tell people that I teach history, almost all of them say, "I hated my history class." They don't need to explain why they hated it. History is so boring when all we talk about are the dead white guys. Take Thomas Jefferson, our first Secretary of State and third President. He lived from 1743 to 1826. And why is that important? Knowing that Jefferson was the third President, first Secretary of State, and had a house in Monticello may help you in trivia or Jeopardy, but it certainly doesn't challenge you to think differently. Classes that only focus on who did what and when will not show students the importance of history. Let's talk about how Jefferson is still rocking our world with the Declaration of Independence. All men are created equal and are endowed with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. American history is full of reform movements and leaders that have pointed to this sentence to fight for equality. Want to know what Jefferson thought were his biggest accomplishments? It surprises some people that he doesn't even mention that he was president, or that he nearly doubled the size of the country when he bought the Louisiana Territory. Besides the Declaration of Independence, his tombstone lists his work for religious freedom and helping found a university. Students shouldn't only learn about all the great things someone did. For some of his biggest fans, Jefferson's own history is sometimes hard to defend. He had lots of slaves and even fathered children with one of them. He also cut the Bible apart to remove any reference to Jesus being God or performing miracles. In history classes, we need to look at all sides. So why should you take my class? By the end of the year, you will know a lot about our country, and you will be able to prove how much you know. Some nice side effects of knowing our history and being able to write about it is that you have a chance to earn college credit for passing the AP test, or just entering college with a great foundation. Critical thinking is looking beyond what we see in a single moment. By looking beyond, I mean that students should understand the cause and effect of an event or a person's action. We know that the colonies declared independence in 1776, but what happened before that to lead them to that point, and what happened after declaring independence? To learn history, we have to read about it, study important details, determine their lasting impact, discuss what we know with peers, and analyze documents. My homework assignments focus on learning facts about history and their overall importance, while class meetings feature weekly discussions of important historical themes and primary sources. Students must also be able to apply what they learned into arguments that are clear and supported with facts. Making an argument and backing it up with evidence is an essential skill for all people to have. If a student claims that Thomas Jefferson hurt America more than he helped it, that student must be able to back that claim with factual evidence. Before we get much further, let's talk about what the AP test is. For AP US History, the multiple choice questions focus on the significance of a person or event. The other half of the test is made up of 3 essays, one of which contains around 10 primary sources the student must use throughout his or her essay. Historical writing must be clear, to the point, and factual. I teach my students how to write an introduction that starts by acknowledging what an opposing argument might be. The next sentence explains why the writer disagrees with that position, and the last sentence is the writer's argument expressed absolutely clearly. The introduction sets up the organization of the rest of the essay. All students will learn how to write power paragraphs of at least 8 sentences. Each paragraph will have a topic sentence followed by 2 pieces of supporting evidence and 2 details for each piece of evidence. It will end with a sentence that returns to the student's original argument. After students learn how to write an introduction and strong paragraphs, students will have numerous opportunities to write complete essays. My AP students will receive extensive feedback, and they will be able to peer edit during class. When my students sit down to take the AP test in May, they will think it was a piece of cake. Advanced placement classes have numerous positive effects for students. In addition to potentially getting college credit for a passing score, students that take AP classes are more likely to complete their bachelor's degree in less time than students who have not taken any AP classes. Critical thinking skills are necessary in every part of life. Clear communication is equally important. Why do you believe what you do? What evidence supports what you believe? What do other people think? If you have a position on something or want to convince someone of your beliefs, you need to be able to express yourself clearly. History affects us to this day. We are still having the same debates about our government as Jefferson and Hamilton. Does the government have the right to do something if it isn't mentioned in the Constitution? Jefferson would argue no, but Hamilton argued that the government can do whatever is necessary and proper to do its job. We may not all agree about why things happened the way they did in the past, or what they may have led to, but we need to keep discussing them. It keeps history relevant and gives us all the opportunity to reflect on what we believe about ourselves as a country. As we saw in the previous slide, arguments about the government's role isn't new. Let's take a life tip from Jefferson. He loved learning above all else. It is no wonder then that he would consider his university as one of his greatest achievements. Jefferson believed that education can free one's mind to explore every subject. And the skills you learn in my course will help you become a lifelong learner in whatever you desire. Learning history isn't going to be easy, especially since I'm trying to get students to think on their own when most of them had just been lectured to. Be assured that I will do everything I can to help my students succeed, but students will need to work for their grades. The process is long, but it will be rewarding.